All right, guys, so today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be naming points on coordinate pairs and using coordinate pairs to plot some points. And so what we're going to do is we are going to first follow these directions, and then we do have quite a few questions on the back and another sheet of paper that we're going to use the same exact paper for to be able to solve and talk through some of these problems. So the first thing is I have this grid paper and I have a lot of different points on there. And I've got to follow these next tasks. And it says construct an x-axis that passes through points A and B. So an x-axis is basically that line. So I want to find A and B, and I'm going to make my x-axis or axis, which is going to just go through A and B. So this is going to be my what I call my x-axis. Okay, so I've done A. Then it says construct a perpendicular line. So remember, a perpendicular line is something that is like this, that it has that 90-degree angle there. For the y-axis that passes through points C and F. So I'm going to make my line right here, and this is going to be my y-axis. And I can actually erase these little lines right here because it just needs to be like in that L, okay? So this right here is my y-axis, and this right here is my x. Okay, so I've done that. Then it says to label the origin, and this is a word that you really need to know and understand, is the origin is 0. That means that's where it all comes together. So I'm going to label that as 0, okay? The x coordinate of B is going to be 5 2/3. Okay, so that's going to then tell me what I need to do is I need to label all of these words. What this is basically telling me is that each of these little boxes that are right here is going to be labeled as a third. And when you do this, you could go ahead and you could label them each 1/3, 2/3. I know 3/3 is going to be the number 1. Okay, this is 1 1/3, 1 2/3, and then I know 1 3/3 is going to be then the number 2. Okay, so it's going to be 2 2/3, 2 1/3, 2 2/3, and then this right here is going to be 3. And I'm actually going to look, I've got 2 in between, and then this is where my whole number is going to be. 2 in between, and then this is where my whole number is going to be. So if I were to look at this, this is going to be 5 1/3, 5 2/3. So that would be correct. And I'm going to go ahead and I am just going to label them, I think, so that you guys can see what the numbers are. That should be 3. This should be 4 1/3, 4 2/3, then 5 1/3, okay? So the intervals aren't just kind of nice where it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am going to have some fractions in there. So I've done D. Then letter E is going to be the y-coordinate of C is 5 1/3, and it says to label the whole numbers along the x-axis. So I know up here that this is going to be 5 1/3. So then I know this one right here is going to be 5, okay? And so I can either go and say, well, I know that this is 1/3, 2/3, and then here is my 1, okay? And then here's 2, skipping 2, here's 3, skipping 2, here's 4, skipping 2. So then I know that this is 1 1/3, 1 2/3, 2 1/3, 2 2/3, 3 1/3, 3 2/3, and then 4 1/3, 4 2/3. Okay, so I have gone ahead and I have labeled everything on here. So then we are good to go to work on the problems that are going to be on our back side.